Good morning. Barry Bryson joining you for another 5 good minutes with the Word. Thank you for being with me this morning. We're going to enter the text of Obadiah today. We spent the last 2 days talking about the text, the date, the author, and then we gave a history of the Edomites, especially as their history intersected the history of the Jews. This is a book that predicts the absolute destruction of the Edomites because of the way they treated the people of Judah when the Babylonian invasion occurred. It's something that is mentioned specifically in Psalm 137, something that was predicted by the prophet Amos, something that Malachi, this destruction at least, can be something Malachi can look back on, having seen it happen. And then so in this text, we have that event described and the reasons given described. So we said that Obadiah is written in 2 parts. We have verses 1 through 15, which talk about the fall of Edom, and then verses 15 through 21, which talk about final judgment and then God's deliverance, the day of the Lord. So we're going to look at these 2 sections separately. So today we want to look at that first section, verses 1 through 15. We said this is the shortest book in the Old Testament, but there's so much packed into it. This first section is in 3 parts itself. The fall of Edom is declared and predicted in verses 1 through 4. The destruction is described as complete in verses 5 through 9. And then their sins are mentioned. It's a prosecutorial section in verses 11 through 14. So let me read that, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. The vision of Obadiah. Thus says the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a report from the Lord, from Yahweh, and an envoy has been sent among the nations, saying, Arise, let us go against her for battle. For behold, I will make you small among the nations. You are greatly despised. The arrogance of your heart has deceived you, you who live in the clefts of the rock, in the loftiness of your dwelling place, who say in your heart, Who will bring me down to earth? Though you build high like the eagle, though you set your nest among the stars, from there I will bring you down, declares the Lord. If thieves come to you, if robbers by night, how will you be ruined? Would they not steal only until they had enough? If grape gatherers came to you, would they not leave some gleanings? Oh, how Esau will be ransacked, of his hidden treasures searched out. All the men allied with you will send forth to the border. All the men at peace with you will deceive you and overpower you. They who eat your bread will set an ambush for you. There is no understanding in him. Will I not say on that day, declares the Lord, destroy the wise men from Edom and the understanding from the mountains of Esau. Then your mighty men will be dismayed, O Teman, in order that everyone may be cut off from the mountain of Esau by slaughter. Because of violence to your brother Jacob, you will be covered with shame, and you will be cut off forever. On the day that you stood aloof, on the day that strangers carried off his wealth and foreigners entered his gate, and you cast lots for Jerusalem, you too were as one of them. Do not gloat over your brother's day, the day of his misfortune, and do not rejoice over the sons of Judah in the day of their destruction. Yes, do not boast in the day of their distress. Do not enter the gate of my people in the day of their disaster. Yes, you do not gloat over their calamity in the day of their disaster, and do not loot their wealth in the day of their disaster, and do not stand at the fork of the road to cut down their fugitives, and do not imprison their survivors in the day of their distress. Well, the seeming command for future action in verses 10 through 14 have led some to believe that this was written before the Babylonian invasion. Let me point that out. I also hope that you've seen so many echoes of things that we've already studied. Obadiah begins by calling himself a seer. He's seeing a vision. And then the thing he sees is this envoy being sent out among the nations. God is sending his ambassador around to the nations to form a coalition so that all these nations can destroy the Edomites. And the Edomites are described as an arrogant people. They're arrogant in that they have confidence in their wisdom and also in their mountain strongholds. And he said, even if you build high like an eagle and put your nest in the stars, I'm going to bring you down because of the things that you're doing to your brother. And I'm not sure that I understand exactly the questions that are asked in 5 and 6, although it reminds me of that section of questioning in the book of Amos. And he says, everybody you depend on, all your allies, they're going to destroy you. I think there's some irony in the fact that I'm going to make you a small nation, because they were a small nation. They were a tiny little nation with outsized influence, prosperity, and power for their size. But judgment is going to come, and it's irrevocable. And everything that is described in verses 10 through 14, they did, even to the point of refusing refugees, which was described in Jeremiah chapter 40, standing in the road and not letting them come and cutting them off. All of these things are the things that the Edomites did. When we look at the book of Nahum, we're going to read a prophecy that expresses a great deal of schadenfreude, a great deal of glee in someone else's suffering and pain. In this book, this is a condemnation of schadenfreude, of looking at your brother and envying him and being happy when bad things befall him and then participating in it. That God takes very seriously. That God condemns. That God will judge. It's an important lesson for us to remember. Okay, tomorrow we're going to look at the second part of the book, verses 15 through 21, and the coming day of the Lord. Thank you for joining me for 5 good minutes with the Word.